I am a lifelong gun and ball gamer, always playing games like the Call of Duties, the Battlefields, the Halos, Madden, and MLB The Show, but I'm really trying to branch myself to different games, and the first game on that list is Black Myth Wukong. Now, when Black Myth Wukong first came out back in 2024, man, I thought it looked good, and I'm like, okay, I need to play this game. I don't know what kind of style of game it is, but I need to play it, so I got it. I ended up taking a large break from it and coming back to it at the end of 2025 and beating it then. Now, I took the time and had a guide to all the different bosses, so I was able to beat all the different bosses. So I put about 80 hours to 100 hours to beat the entire game, but I'm sure you can beat this game in like 20 to 30 hours if you just hit the main line bosses. Now, I'm going to be grading this game on 4 scales: story, gameplay or combat, graphics, and characters. Now, first off is the story. Now look, the story, it's not bad. I think that the cutscenes are done really well in the game, especially in between or at the end of chapters. But my slight tweak with it is, if you haven't read Journey to the West, the book that this game was actually built, you know, built on, you're going to miss and kind of be confused on a lot of different lore aspects and some of the things that are going in the game. So for that alone, I would give the story a 7 out of 10, but it is worth it 100% to either A, go and read the book, or B, go and there are definitely YouTubers, I've watched them myself, I can't throw out a channel, who go through and actually explain the lore of each boss holistically. It's worth it if you really want to fully understand and encapsulate yourself with the story. Combat. Look, I'm going to give the combat a 10 out of 10, honestly. And this ranking obviously may change in 4 years when I play 300 more games, but right now it's a 10 out of 10. I enjoyed the combat. It felt like the game's strongest point. It feels smooth. It feels fluid. It's fun. The dodge window is a bit large, but for most bosses, but you know, that's whatever. And there's a good amount of weapons and staffs to choose from. I kind of stuck with the same couple through the entire playthrough of the story, but that's just me. A lot of people like to switch them up. Some people run with one the entire game, and that's fine too. But the physical combat, it was just fun. I didn't feel like it was boring. I didn't feel like it was repetitive. I didn't feel like there was a boring gameplay loop. And that's kind of what I'm looking for in the game. Like I said, combat, a 10 out of 10. Graphics. The graphics are also a 10 out of 10. Obviously, you're watching gameplay right now through the video, listening to my voice talk. I don't know if this video will do it justice or not, but this game looks really, really, really good. And characters. I think the characters in this game are a bit of a meh. I feel like this kind of also goes back to the whole Journey to the West thing, where you kind of don't really understand very much. You really only have one character, technically two if you include yourself, who really you kind of stick with the entire game, and that's Zubaji. And his development, him as a character, was a great character. But this isn't really a story-based game either, so it's kind of hard to have some good, proper character development there. So actually, I'll slide it to an 8 out of 10, not a 7 out of 10, just because of what style of this game is, I guess. And last but not least, the downsides that I feel this game has. First off, I wish there was more staff stances to choose from. I understand there's a lot of different build variety with different armor sets giving bonuses, different gourds giving different, special effects, the different transformations, and different staffs and different, abilities between Cloud Step and Pluck of Many and stuff like that. But I just wish the staff stances, the staff stances was a little bit larger, and like the light attacks and the heavy attacks kind of varied. I mean, if you're in the thrust staff stance, your moves are going to be the same. As there being only 3 stances, I wish there was more. Next up is the Pagoda Realm. Now, if you've played the game, you know what this is. If you haven't played the game, you won't. If you're going to play the game, you'll figure it out. But this is an area where you can tell they wanted to make it challenging, but it's to the point where it's annoying. It's not really challenging. It's annoying. You want to get out of there. You hate being in there. You don't ever want to go back. I feel like a challenging area would be one that it's kind of annoying in the moment, but you look back on it and you're like, okay, yeah, this is a pretty solid area. The Pagoda Realm is not bad. It is annoying. And last but not least, I felt some of the bosses were a little easy for me. And this is my first Souls style-ish type game that I've ever played. So I was kind of confused by that. Now, obviously, there's a pretty big gap between, certain bosses. The harder bosses are definitely significantly harder than the bosses that are easier. I don't really feel like there's a lot in the middle. Uh, but that also may be the concept of the game, that there's 100 and I don't know 120 bosses or something like that, 107 bosses. So there are going to be, a lot that feels super easy compared to the, 10 or 15 that are actually challenging. Um, but I haven't played enough of these styles of games to really grasp that yet. Overall, I'd give this game a 9 out of 10. I loved every second I played this game, no matter how much I raged at certain bosses like Erlang or Yellow Long or anything like that. I enjoyed this game. It was such a blast. It felt rewarding, especially when you do beat those bosses that you were stuck on for a bit. Now, I can say I would 100% recommend playing this game. I think that if you enjoy these styles of games, the boss rushes, the RPGs, the Souls like, and you want a game that you can put, between 20 to 30 or even 80 hours into, just on the story, making it through the first time, exploring things, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth your money, and I'm sure, I don't know, right now there may be a Steam sale that has it. I don't know, but I'm sure it goes on sale or has some sort of sale where you can get it for cheaper than 60 bucks. But I think for 60 bucks, honestly, it's still a steal, and I think 100% worth it in my opinion.